Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to another episode of the Medicare Machine Factory from Medicare Peace of Mind's weekly podcast, where we bring information to the agent and broker community to help make an impact, to make your lives better, make your lives more fruitful, make you in a position where you can help more people. And so this week we are going to be talking to Tiger. Tiger is a new broker in the Chicago area that we will be helping launch into the industry. And so we're just going to chat with him a little bit. And without further ado, let's bring him in. Hey, Tiger, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
We are great. There we go. So it's hard to see you. That's much better.
It's okay.
Perfect. So yeah, we're happy to have you on the best team in the country. I might be biased on that, but
That's
I firmly believe that with all my heart. But yeah, we want to highlight different topics every week and have different information that we're putting out there. But so you're relatively new to the insurance world for the second time around, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Medicare industry?
I'm 59, so obviously it's a natural fit for me to be able to relate to people that are within that age group, and just reading the news, and when I was going through my actual just the test just to get the insurance license, when I saw how complicated it is, I was thinking about like at 65, if I have to figure out what's good for me, I'm going to need some advice. So I thought this would be a good thing to do. For people that are getting closer to that age group, to help them,
Yeah. Oh, you're on mute, my friend, Josh.
Thank you. Tell us what made you decide Medicare, because I know we talked about it a little bit. You've had people talk to you about life insurance and annuities and long-term care and all these other different industries. Why Medicare?
Yeah, so I've been in my own business 25 plus years since I left college, and for me, any relationships that I've had of any kind with a client, I always try to start with a relationship that offers more value to the client than to the salesperson. And Medicare is a right fit for that. So if I want to do financial planning, I want to do retirement planning for people, I have to offer them some value first so they can see, and then knowing that you already have a brand of peace of mind.
You lost Tiger for a second there. Technology is always fun when it comes to this stuff. We'll give it just a sec for it to catch back up.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So yeah, providing that peace of mind. I don't know where I got that word, but it's providing some peace of mind for a retiree. It's a natural fit then to talk about their other issues with their money in retirement. So that really was why I feel that Medicare is a good door opener.
Sure. What are some of your goals for the first year that you have for yourself?
So the lofty goal is to be able to learn the stuff and become as much of an expert as possible, have the right team around me, and then once I feel comfortable, build an actual agency. So in the next 5 to 6 years, that's the long-term goal, is to have a solid agency. And I want to copy your model because you're building it with quality instead of quantity.
That's absolutely right. He is building quality over quantity. So you got that. Hey, Tiger. My name is Orlando. I'm the sales director for Medicare Peace of Mind, and I'm so excited that you're joining the team. Like we said, the best team of all time. So Tiger, with some of your experience and you getting into the insurance or Medicare industry, tell us how you're going to integrate some of your experience at having your own company to build your agency? Give us some ideas, 1, 2, 3, if you will.
Yeah. So for me, the philosophy of life
Oh,
is.
then we got unreliable internet.
Oh, you can hear it.
There you go. Now we can hear you again.
Okay. So for me, the philosophy of business is always start with giving. You know, that's my spiritual belief, and that's my philosophy in business. And for me, Medicare was a good fit because number one, starting with the client, and then I went through. Josh knows my background a little bit last year through a nightmare with an agency that promised all this stuff that they were going to do for me to start me in the Medicare, never gave me all the information up front that what I was going to have to go through and what money I need to invest. Had they done that, I still was going to do it. It wasn't like it was going to discourage me. But just, short experience in the last 6 months has been one misleading, you know, statement and promise after another. So when it comes to building the agency, that's what I want to do is to not put other people through the same thing. And that's why, Josh and his team are a good fit for me because I could tell from the very first time we talked that his commitment to his staff, his commitment to his business, his commitment to helping me, he just literally flew just to come and train me with his busy schedule from Colorado to Chicago and spending a couple of days with me. I don't know any other agency that does that. Like literally, there's zero other agencies that would do something like that.
I know of a few, but yes, they're hard to find. They're definitely hard to find. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We're really excited to see what potential you have. Um, I I try not to align with people that are going to waste my time. Which
Mhm.
anyone who's been in this business more than 28 seconds starts to learn that most people are wasting some time.
Mhm.
On some level, they're wasting money, they're wasting leads, they're wasting time. A lot of people talk a big game. Not very many people show up when it's time to show up, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that's the epitome of pretty much anybody on Team Medicare Peace of Mind. But I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, we all are hearing things in the industry. Tell me what you've heard about having to record phone calls moving forward and what your thoughts on that are.
On what?
Having to record all of our phone calls.
I'm not sure. I don't know if I can relate to that question.
Okay. What about you, Orlando? What are your thoughts on having to record phone calls now?
Well, my thoughts are we have to do what CMS says for us to do. It's a part of their insight, their compliance. Every year with CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid, they're always making adjustments to protect Medicare, to protect our clients. And this is one added opportunity for us to protect our clients. Also, I will say, when we started, Medicare Peace of Mind started recording our calls, it's twofold. And I tell this to all all the brokers out there. It's a twofold message because not only are they're protecting the clients, the Medicare eligibles, but who are we really protecting? We're protecting ourselves. We're protecting our behinds. And I'll tell you what, Joshua has been recording his phone calls for how long already? Way before CMS already required it. So we want to make sure that we're protected, and we want to make sure our brokers are protected. So this is just an opportunity to do so. Yes, it feels like, oh, another thing I got to do for CMS, another compliant thing I have to do for CMS. But it's okay. We have a great system. We have a program where you can do all your calls from this program. Makes it super easy. It records all the calls. They don't even know it. The phone calls come straight from your cell phone. They don't even know that they're necessarily being recorded right then and there. So it's a pretty awesome program that we use here for Medicare Peace of Mind.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. So with stuff like this, scope of appointments, all that stuff, if half the agent population thinks that something's a pain in the ass, then I think it's a good thing because that's going to remove all of the lazy, all of the cheats, all of the other stuff from doing stuff. But for me, uh, number one, my advice is pay attention to what state you're in because some parties are one party states and some parties are two party states. And what that means is if you're in a two party state, then you have to notify the other person that you're recording the phone call. In Colorado and a lot of other states that we're in, it's a one party state. And in a one party state, one of the two of you has to know it's being recorded, and that's it. So if you know or if they know, that's all that matters. And so that's part of it. Make sure you're compliant with the laws in addition to the regulations, because CMS does not make laws, they make regulations. So you want to follow the regulations, but more importantly, make sure you stay on the right side of the law at the same time. And then, in my opinion, it's actually a really good thing to have to record phone calls. Whether you're brand new, whether you're a seasoned agent, having the ability to go back and listen to a phone call again, word for word, is such a massive growth and training tool that nobody's using. Nobody wants to listen to their own voice. No one wants to watch the recording of their no one likes their voice on tape, right? However, the more comfortable you can get with watching that kind of stuff, listening to your own phone calls. In my early days in the field, when I first launched into the field on my own, I meticulously listened to every single phone call after the fact to listen for, did I miss a cue? Did I miss them saying something? Was I too worried? Was I too talky? It gives you an opportunity to fine tune and adjust how you present yourself to your potential client or to your clients so that you can maximize a few things. For me, maximizing efficiency of time is number one. And so to me, I would try to spin the negative that is having to record our phone calls and turn it into a positive of, well, now I don't got to worry about it. I'll never have to worry about a client throwing me under the bus again. Because if they say I said or didn't say something, we'll like, hold on, Monty, let's play the tape and let's listen to what was said. And so there's some definite positives. Now, if you're a bad agent and you're just doing bad stuff and you're taking advantage of people, then you're going to hate this rule. And this is, you're the reason why we have this damn thing. You're it. So if you're watching this, one, I hate you, even if I don't know who you are. I hate you if you are one of the people out there taking advantage of people. Like if I could, I would meet you in the back alley and do my best to hold up my honor. But so for me, I think it's a positive. Is it a pain in the ass? I think it could have been if I didn't already have a system in place that I knew I could record phone calls and I didn't already have the app installed on my phone and I wasn't comfortable and used to already doing that. I think it would be a big issue. So there's probably a lot of agents out there, a lot of brokers, a lot of bigger organizations. The bigger you are, the more responsibility you have. And so if you're an insurance agent and you didn't know this, this is one of the few industries where shit, excuse my language, runs uphill, not downhill. So in most things in life, things run from the people that are responsible down to the people that aren't responsible, down to the minions, if you will. In our industry, everything runs uphill. So if one of our team makes a mistake, we have to be answered. We have to answer that. And we have to be held accountable at the same time as the actual agent does. And so it's very important, not only for yourself, make sure you're aligned with people of integrity. Make sure you're aligned with people that are going to guide you the right direction and give you the right information and tell you what to watch out for. Because there's a lot of ways, and it's if you didn't know it, it's a very thin layer of ice that we all stand on. It only takes one really, really bad client to ruin your whole career, really. I've seen it happen before. I've seen people lose their license. I've seen people have their contracts terminated. So just remember, even though we are independent contractors and we are working for ourselves or working for our clients, at the end of the day, our contract doesn't say that. Our contracts with the insurance carriers say we're supposed to represent them. We're supposed to do our best to be the face of the organization, if you will. And so we're kind of held to a different standard in that regard. But just remember, CYA, there's a reason why the expression is cover your own ass. It's not cover their ass or cover it's mine. You cover your own because nobody else is going to. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that topic out there. It's been one I've been seeing a lot, been getting asked a lot of questions about. I don't think anybody really understands at this point what the brevity and what it actually is going to look like. How are they going to enforce it? Because they had a scope of appointment rule for a long, long time where you're supposed to send the scope out and then get it back 48 hours in advance, and you had to fax it to the carrier and all this other stuff. It's not like they had like the scope of appointment police out making sure that you were there and doing what you're supposed to do. Basically, it's like an honor system, and they only check into it if you get in trouble for something.
Right.
So the first time, if you get an allegation or anything like that, the first thing they ask for is where's the scope of appointment form. Then they're going to ask for all documentation affiliated with the client. And how nice is it if you're using a good CRM or a good system that you just print out the notes and you download all the recorded calls, right? And so there are ways to make this really simple and not have it be this overwhelming, intimidating thing. And it's actually a positive. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the matter. Is I think it's going to be a good thing, not a bad thing. What other topics can we talk about today, gentlemen? Is there anything burning on your mind, Orlando?
Well, coming back to Tiger real quick, we don't know much about you. Tell us about your name, Tiger. You don't see that name very often unless you're at a zoo or something. So tell us about your name. Tell us who you are.
I bought a zoo. No, the name, people are always curious about that. I became a naturalized citizen of the United States, and this was my nickname. My full name is Tiger Ahmad Shahid, and then it was just Ahmad Shahid before, and then literally very few people knew my real name. They just clients, friends. Always called just a nickname Tiger. So when I became a citizen, I said it was just right for me to just add that in the name, so it becomes a legal name, so that when I'm contracting with companies, they don't get confused. So who's Tiger, who's Ahmad, So it was just practical to be able to do that. So I've been, I came here to go to school. Went to school for theater, and then once I got out, sales was the natural fit, because Hollywood didn't call, so shame on them. So for me,
technology is only good when it works, I tell you.
So for me, picking the sales business itself and being able to work commission only type of opportunities was not just that I fell into it. I chose it, and then I studied it, So I've spent thousands of dollars to going to Tony Robbins or Brian Tracy and, all these people. And when I started doing public speaking, spent another $10,000 with a trainer that's, worked with me. So for me, I take everything very seriously. People get in and out of the sales business, I'll try it kind of attitude, And then that's why there's such a failure, whether it's car sales
about a minute at a time from now.
It doesn't matter what type of sales it is. So, for me, I've been
we
in
should
now.
Dance while we're waiting.
So I've been but from the time I got my license, it's almost coming up to 9 months. I haven't made a penny. I've spent a lot of money on marketing, but to me, it's just building a business. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes money, but I know, attaching myself to people like Josh and 8% and all the successful people, I can see where I'm going to be, as long as I do the same thing that they've done.
Yeah, no, you have invaluable information that most people don't have, which is what does it take to start a business? Most people just think, okay, I have a business. Where are my business cards? Where's my mug with my logo? Where's my mouse pad with my stuff? And they think that just having those items with their name and their phone number and all that makes them a business. But that's not what makes you a business. What makes you a business is making money.
Right.
We all want to make money, I think, is how it works. And so you're supposed to run a business with the intention of investing to make money, right? Which, Tiger, bringing that up, everything changed for me. Not everything, but things went from good to great to amazing when I started to invest into coaching, invest into training. And I'll tell you, the first person I hired to coach me cost me $3,000 for 1 hour. right? And so when you start to get into those kind of numbers, it's number one, it's very scary. So I get it. $3,000, that's like your whole bills for the month or whatever that is. But you can't look at it that way. You can't look at it as an expense that you're buying something.
Yeah.
That's not like a waste of money. Like to me, a TV, a lot of those things are a waste of money because number one, you're not going to use them all the time. Number two, they detract away from your success rather than enhancing your success. Where I can tell you at this point, I've spent probably close to 6 figures in the last 2 years on coaching and training and plugging into getting myself in the rooms with the bigger fish, with the bigger dogs, with a bigger vision, with a bigger mindset. And all it's done for me is put myself into a bigger mindset, bigger dog, bigger everything. And so you start thinking like the people that you're around. And I've heard the cliche many times, you are who you hang out with, your network is your net worth, all those cliches. But I've started to actually feel and see the tangible proof that's not just a cliche. And frankly, most cliches are cliches because there's a big element of truth to whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think, Tiger, is the most important thing for you? I mean, you've been in the business 9 months now, made no money, spent thousands of dollars trying, right? Listening to a bunch of different people. What still gives you hope after all that?
Well, I mean, the hope comes from, like I said, seeing the proof in the pudding, right? Because I've seen people, and most of their stories are no different. There's a lot of stories that are worse than mine, where somebody started under even worse circumstances, than I did. And I've seen those people rise to the top, So I know this, the path of success leaves clues that I just need to find those clues. And sometimes you connect with them immediately, and sometimes it takes a little time before you are connected with the right type of team. So for me, it's just surrounding myself first with people that I want to follow before I surround myself.
What about you, Orlando? What do you think the most important thing a new agent has to bring to the table to be successful?
That's a great question. There's a lot of things, but the one thing that I tell new agents is the willingness to learn, the willingness to learn and to do. What I mean by to do is whatever you're learning, whatever you're going to learn from Joshua, whatever we can learn from you, Tiger. I'm excited to learn. We're all in this together. We're going to learn something from everyone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So whatever we can learn from each other, now it's not just listening. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about don't be just hearers of the word, but be doers of the word. We want to be doers. We want to get out there and do what we learn. And so what Joshua is going to be teaching us, what you are going to be teaching us, Tiger, what I can bring to the table, other agents and other big dogs that Joshua knows that they're going to bring to the table, we have to do them as well. So we have to be coachable, and we have to also be a doer. So that's my advice, and that's what I think are the two most important things as a new agent: to learn, to be willing to learn, and to do what you're learning.
What does coachable mean?
Now you're messing with everybody's minds right there. Tiger, what do you think coachable means?
Coachable means that you have a student mentality, that you don't come in saying, oh, I've done this before. I've been so successful in this before. When I used to hire people, when I ran a very large campaign for AT&T, I used to hire people to do door-to-door sales. And I'll have people that have done corporate sales and, they've been $1 million producer. They come in and they say, yeah, what do you guys do? I'm like, we go knock on doors. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's kind of like, it's got to be nothing. I'm like, okay, let's do it for one day, and then you'll see what it means. And I used to tell them the same thing. I don't care what you have done. Now you're on a different team. If you played for the Bears and all of a sudden you are going to go play for New England Patriots, it's a whole new system that you need to learn. And, the successful players don't go to a new team and say, oh, you know, I already know how to catch a ball, so just I'll show up on game day. They have
Some of them do.
to learn the new system. So that to me, that coachable somebody is who knows that I have value that I'm bringing into this team. However, the people that are here already that are successful, all day I've been asking questions and questions and questions. I'm sure Josh is getting tired of my questions, but for me, it's just picking his brain because he's done it. I'm about to do what he's already done. So to me, being coachable is that I don't look at him and say, okay, he's half my age, half my experience in sales. No, coachable means that what I am about to do is something he's done more. It's not the age, it's not, where we come from, that I have to just, and it makes it simple, right? So if somebody gives you a map, you just follow the map, and at the end of the day, you're just gonna reach the same place where they went because they've been there a few times.
Exactly. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel kind of the same way, Tiger. So for the last, I want to say the last 7-8 years of my career, maybe the last 10 years of my career, I've been on the corporate side as a broker manager. So I talk about these things. I say, you should try this, you should try that. Do your marketing this way, create an action plan, and so on and so forth. But being with Josh, there's an opportunity to do what I say. And also with the system that Josh has created, I get to participate in that. So the last couple of weeks, I've been getting out into the community, been talking to our brokers and agents about getting to community marketing and those types of things. And I'm enjoying talking and walking and talking, getting into my community. I'm going to own, and I'm telling everybody to own 5 to 10 miles of their marketing area or their home or wherever they do business. They want to own that mileage, and I get to do that. So I'm learning as well as teaching, and that's what I like about what we're doing here at Medicare Peace of Mind, is we're offering opportunities to grow, to learn, and also to teach and mentor other people.
Right. And I take that as a responsibility. I think one of the things that I've seen just generally in the commission type sales business is that people are brought into a business opportunity with completely a different picture because they're painting a picture of a really good job, and it's really not fair to somebody who's 18 or 19 or 25 or somebody just got out of college to not tell them that I'm going to make you an entrepreneur. And it's a different path than having a job. You're not exchanging your time for dollars. You're going to use your talent to make money. And if you have at least a base, we're going to help you create and develop that talent. And I think it's like the fault is on both sides. People come in thinking, oh, Josh is making all this money, so maybe in 3 months I can make the same amount of money. But then the fault is on the other side because people that are making Josh type of money, they're telling people, yeah, you can make my kind of money within 3 months. So, that's the culture that I feel after meeting with Joshua, was that hopefully that he has that same philosophy. I want to change that. Every organization I've built, for sales organization I've built, I don't bring in people promising them a high paying job. I'm very clear about the path you're about to take. You're going to be tackled. You're going to have mud on your face, but it's going to be all worth it as long as you're willing to go through the grind that it's going to take to get there. If you're going to do it for 10 hours a week and take a year to get there, that's okay. If you want to jump in and go there in 3 months, that's okay too. But allow people to be, at least have the right expectations.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Absolutely. I have nothing to add to that at all. That's fantastic. So what is the number one barrier to someone succeeding, not in this business, but in life, in your opinion?
Well, for me, it's the top one always has been attitude. It's not what happens to you, it's how you react, you know. And I'm 59 years old. I talk to my wife every day and I just tell her, I said, that conversation I had with the landlord, I was the one who reacted wrongfully. Doesn't matter what he was saying. If he said something totally stupid, I still had that choice of how I was going to react to that. So when it comes to sales or business or life, to me, it's 100% attitude. It's not like the cliche. And to me, attitude is just how do you react to moment of your life, to every situation, whether it's somebody cutting you off in traffic or somebody jumping in front of you in a line of, long line of some ticket sales, or it doesn't matter. How you react is the only choice we have. We can't change the rest of the world, but we can change ourselves. So for me, it's been always, um, when I was younger, everything was resolved with this, you know, let's go, you know. So then, at some point you realize that no, that's not the solution. My reaction is something that is going to bring joy in here, and then it's going to spread to the rest of the world. But if there's no joy here, I can't give you anything. If I'm here just angry all the time, which we know that politicians use that human behavior. They want to just make people angry at each other. Americans fighting with Americans, which is, I don't want to get into a political discussion, but for me, it's been a very big disappointment. It's like, it's just that we're being used,
It's true. It's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Attitude can change the whole situation,
Right.
from work to personal to whatever it is. If we have the right attitude, if we can make those adjustments in life,
Yeah.
boy, we'll have a little bit more of that joy that you're talking about.
It's the reaction. Have you ever seen the YouTube videos of a guy, Australian guy, no arms, no legs, no problem?
Mm.
Okay, I want you guys to see it. The guy is born without legs and without arms. He's one of the biggest motivational speakers, in that type part of the world, and doesn't have arms, doesn't have legs, and learned how to swim, learn how to
There
play
you
soccer.
go.
And when you see his videos, you'll know what I follow people like that, because to me it's like then I feel like, oh my God, I have nothing to complain. I have arms, I have legs, I have a brain, I have everything that God
Yeah.
could give me. And if I'm not using all of it, then these are all the gifts from God. I wasn't, it's not, I deserved sight. I didn't deserve legs. I didn't deserve, it was just a blessing. I was born with a full able body. And what do you do with it? I mean, how do you give that back to the world and say, okay, God gave me more than everybody else. Then what do I do with it? This is an asset that you can use to make other people better.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great stuff.
What is Tiger going to do to shake this industry up?
Like I said, for me, it's like number one, learning from somebody who's successful. And then whatever I feel that I have to offer to the industry from my experience in the world and in my life and in my personal life and in my business life, that I want to mix that with what I learned. But at the end of the day, business means the first focus has to be generating revenue ethically. We talked about that in the very. So once I learned how to generate revenue ethically, I feel that I can bring a lot. My focus really is to teach this business more than it is for me to make a whole bunch of money just selling, annuities, and that's my passion. That's what I want to do. That's I get calls from people that I don't remember, that maybe they were in a sales class with me 15 years ago and found me on Facebook and say, guess what? I'm a sales director for this company and thank you for what you were teaching me. So to me, literally, I get goosebumps when I get those calls, because to me, no amount of money, was ever exchanged for that call that I got. And I want to bring that passion into this industry, because I really do feel that there's a lot of people like me in this business. There's more of the people that shouldn't be in this business. So yeah, we're going to shake it up. We're going to make sure that we find the people that have the burning desire to do something good with their life, just need somebody to coach them.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
really excited about this.
We're doing a seminar tomorrow. What are you most looking forward to with that? It'll be your first seminar, right?
It is my first seminar. I'm looking forward to Joshua Young getting on stage and doing his magic. Like literally just want to see how you do it, and obviously you've been successful. So I'm just going to sit there and soak all the information that's there. I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, my biggest piece of advice for anybody watching, if you're thinking about doing Turning 65 seminars, don't think most people aren't coming to find Tony Robbins. They're not looking for a polished, professional, speaking, engaging, and entertaining individual. What they're looking for is they're looking for an expert. Because I ask this at the beginning of every seminar. Raise your hand if you came to be a Medicare expert. I tell anybody that does raise their hand, I say, you're in the right room at the wrong time, because this is a one and a 1.5 hour class. I need, I don't know, 10 weeks just to scratch the surface. I need you to come in and sit with me for 4 hours a day for 10 weeks. And then we can start the process of you being Medicare expert. And what I usually say is, if you want to be a Medicare expert, go get your license and I'll teach you how to make money doing this. But most people don't go to the seminar to become a Medicare expert. Most people show up to the seminar to find a Medicare expert to help guide them and help give them the information that they're looking for in a easy to understand, simple to use, friendly, maybe even a little bit fun. Medicare is not a fun topic. Medicare doesn't put butts in the seats. So when we do a seminar, whether it's your first one or your 100th one, I encourage you to just do it, because you're providing a valuable service. And anybody that comes to your seminar has been saved from talking to some call center agent, from some bad agent, from something. And you have to look at it from that perspective. And so some agents, like on some levels, I would guess that Tiger was a little bit disappointing when he only had 2 RSVPs for the first one. Because in our minds, we're thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have a room of 50 people. This is going to be great. Leads are going to be falling all over me. This is going to be wonderful, right? And in reality, for me, I only consider it a failure if I stop doing them. Because I've had seminars with no attendees, and I've had seminars with 150 people in them, and I've had everything in between. And some of the most fun, some of the most impactful, and some of the best clients I have came from the 2s and the 3s and the 4 size crowds. And you can make momentum with a crowd of 4 equally as a crowd of 10 or more if you do it correctly, because then you get referrals, you get some other stuff. And so I'm really excited to get you launched into doing seminars, to get anyone launched into doing seminars, because it's a missing piece of the puzzle. I didn't even do seminars when I went into the field.
Right.
Like I've just started adding them when I met the Askins family last year, and I moved my contracts. Which, if anyone's out there watching and you're on the bubble on whether or not you should move your contract, number one, if you're on the bubble, you should probably move your contract, because you're not getting what you're supposed to get. 2, it's a very hard process. It's a hard emotional process. Sometimes it's even a hard physical process. Not all uplines are friendly about it. Some of them will say, hey, we have an open release policy, and then it comes time to get a release and it's not so open. And so a couple of pieces of advice, if you're in the industry, whether you're new or not. Number one, if you're considering making a change, take your time. I'd say take as much time as you can. Interview as many people as you can. It's kind of like dating in some respects. Don't just take the first one that walks by. just to get something in. But you
Yeah.
want to take your time, maximize it, use it as an opportunity to negotiate, use it as an opportunity to really get to know what people are. Let them show you your true colors up front. And you want to, my recommendation is put something in place that helps you test them. What I mean by that is maybe set up a phone call for next week on Thursday at 10:30 in the morning. If they're not on time or early and they don't communicate with you, that's probably a sign, because I used to be that way. It would be a sign that they're probably not dialed in right now, right?
Yeah.
They're probably not ready to roll. And so
Yeah.
what the worst thing you can do is unhitch your wagon from one wagon and hook it onto another wagon that's even less efficient,
Yeah.
less supportive. And there's a lot of talk out in the business. There's a lot of talk out there because there's a lot of money. And anytime there's a lot of money, there's a lot of hands going after it. There's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of lying. There's manipulation. There's cheating. There's all those things. And so you really want, what's going on? Oh, Lori's trying to call me. All right. So yeah, finding the right upline to me is one of the most important decisions that you can make. It's almost like finding a spouse. If you pick the wrong spouse, I promise you, your life's going to suck.
Yeah.
And if you pick the wrong upline, your business life in this industry is going to suck. You're going to get taken advantage of. You're not going to get the support that was promised. None of those things are going to line up like they're supposed to. And so it's very, very, very important to find that right thing. And so if you're considering it, again, I recommend interviewing as many of them as you can. Get as many opinions out there from as many different people to find the right fit for you. Because what I can tell you is there's probably at least 1,000 that this business has done. There's 1,000 different agencies out there doing just a little bit different, finding their own niche, doing their own thing. And inevitably, there's no one right answer. There's a bunch of right answers. And what you got to do is you got to find the right personality that fits with you, that has the right values, that matches with you, that has a similar system. So like if in your mind, you want to be the best call center agent and it's very attractive to you to just sit in your room and take phone calls all day and all that, there is a system for that. But we would be a horrible fit for that. I would be the worst person to train you on how to be a call center agent because that's not where my specialty. I've run telemarketing centers. I've managed call centers, but that's not where I've had my success.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to learn golf from Larry Bird, and I wouldn't want to learn basketball from Tiger Woods. But both of them are elite athletes in their own right. Just if you put them in the wrong sport, then they're not going to help you any.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, having the right resources, having the right fit personality-wise with the people that you're working with, I think that's an overlooked part of it. And a lot of people take positions or take jobs or take opportunities without having all that stuff in place. And it doesn't mean you can't succeed. But in my opinion, if you're missing any of that stuff, all it does is exponentially make your success more difficult.
Right.
You're stacking the odds against you instead of in your favor, which to me is crazy.
Right. And Josh, I want to like literally, not just because you're here, and if it sounds like a little bit of testimonial, that what you just described is exactly what I went through. I was like, and just because I had business experience, I could tell it's not going to work out. So I was, dropping it and not putting any more time or investment in it. I went with, a few different places and talked. And then I started doing what you're suggesting now. I didn't start with interviewing first. I just jumped in, with the first company that came through. And then I realized that, okay, I've attached myself to the wrong company. And because the answer to every question was, do you have mailed leads? Yes. Do you do seminars? Yes. What if I want to just be a rep that wants to, like you just said, wants to have just the live calls? Oh, yes, we have that. And none of that was true, right? So for me, especially if you're in the Medicare, and you are an insurance agent that's trying to get into Medicare, I want you to at least take a serious look at this opportunity because I'm speaking from my own personal experience that I could have saved at least 6 months of the headache that I went through had I met Josh 6 months ago, you know.
Mm.
So it's just, it's just like I know more in the last 24 hours now since he started training, because we haven't done any training. We started training when he was flying here and he started sending me stuff. And now I feel more comfortable with, I can probably go talk to somebody about Medicare because obviously I'm going to know more than they do. And then just the ability to be able to pick up the phone and say, okay, I don't know how this works, but I know somebody who can tell you. So that kind of support, I appreciate you, Josh, putting your time and money and effort into it. And I don't care if only one person shows up tomorrow. I'm still looking forward to it. And my last thing I want to say is that people that are set up by God to have the most success will have the most failures in the beginning. I 100% believe in that. So that's why the more failure I've had, it gets me more excited and motivated because there's something big in it for me. And one day I may be the brand name of our organization, that I can tell my story where I started and how, difficult it was in the beginning. But I have 100% belief in that God tests you when he's about to deliver something big for you. That do you deserve it,
That's a great
Amen.
testimony.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. Great testimony. I really, really like that.
Yeah, that's worth about $2,000 that he said that he's going to pay me cash.
Ah,
Just for saying those words.
I'm not successful on accident, that's for sure.
that's about 20 apps for you to write, Tiger. Then you get
Yep. So yeah, we are a couple of minutes left before we wrap this up. So Orlando, why don't you tell us about what you feel as though what are we at, 2 weeks now
2 weeks.
since you started?
Yeah.
2.5, whatever it is.
Somewhere around there.
So what's different? You had to have had a vision, an image in your mind of what Medicare Peace of Mind is, what Joshua Young's is, what the team is. What's different now that you've seen it, other than I'm completely unorganized and it's a miracle I do what I do?
Well, honestly, I didn't have much of a vision what it would be like. Um, I knew you are, we'll just say you are the Medicare machine, so you make it happen. So what is different is trying to uh, help create those processes for our organization. All the systems that we have set up to just set them up and make sure they're set up so we can hand it right on over to Tiger. We can hand it right over to the other agents, and all the agents can be confident in both you with the process that you've created and with me with being available. I had a pastor once say, "Our greatest ability is availability," and that's my job. My job is to be available first to Josh and then all the other agents. Make sure that I am relaying all the information from Josh to all the agents when he's out there building the business.
Yeah.
And so that's been, I tell you what, I'm more busy. I'm just going to be real right now. I'm more busy right now than I have been for the last 6 years of my career working for larger agencies or larger carrier insurance carriers. Um, but there's more ownership that I feel. I'm excited I'm taking on some of this weight of Medicare peace of mind, and I'm taking that responsibility to heart. I'm excited to help build something great and it's going to be a lot bigger than my imagination can ever think. And hopefully, it's bigger. There's those moments in our lives where when I was younger, making $30,000 a year was so exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making 30,000 a year, 35,000 a year. And then I got to 75,000 a year, and then it got to 100 a year, and so on and so forth. And those moments are exciting. But when I was, 25 years old, I never imagined I'd be making or doing the things that I'm doing now. And now that I am, 43 years old, I'm excited because I can only imagine what it's going to be like for the next 10 to 20 years, creating something big, something special in Medicare Peace of Mind.
Right.
To be a part of that. And I'm excited to, and that's what's different. I'm more engaged because I have there's a vested interest in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. No, it highlights what Tiger said earlier too. He said, Joshua, I think you have a good system. You just don't have processes. which is true in some respects. And for him, I sent him the boot camp videos, and the first one, when you open it up, it starts playing, and you look at the bottom, and it says 5 hours. How long do I have to sit in front of this computer? But in reality, that's just the first one. Day 2 is another 5 hours, and day 3 is another 3 to 5 hours. And so it is a lot of information. It's an overwhelming amount of information. And in the beginning, when I put it together, at that time, I didn't understand that other people thought differently than me, that other people learned differently than me. Like for me, if you show me once and you hand me where I can look up the answer, I don't need you anymore. Like training's over. Thank you. You did a great job. I'll take over from here. And most people, what I've learned is most people can't do that. Most people need you to hold their hand, to lead them down, to get them past the fears. And the best analogy I've come up with for my own personal life, when I was in middle school, we went to this pool all the time in the summer. It's called Myers Pool, and it had a 15-meter diving board. And if you've never jumped off of a 15-meter diving board before, I assure you is much different than jumping off a regular diving board. You get up there and you're like, holy shit, I've got this whole new aspect of height. Can I make it? And I've seen videos of people hitting their head on stuff or hitting the water wrong or other things. But in reality, jumping off of a 15-meter board is no different than jumping off a regular board once you get your mindset right.
Once
right. And it's just that first time that's the scary one. Yeah. And so as we wrap up, that's my biggest piece of advice. I don't care if you're in our industry or not. If you're not in our industry, I have no idea why you just watched an hour-long podcast about us talking about it. But here you are at the end of it, and you have more power in you than you think. More ability to overcome things. And in fact, what you think is probably the biggest barrier to your success. I asked you guys that a couple of times today. What do you think your biggest barrier to success is? It's actually you. I'm my own biggest barrier to success. And I've also heard the cliche, one of the biggest threats to success is a little bit of success. Because you get a taste of a little bit of success, you take your foot off the gas pedal, you stop trying so hard, you start to try to show out, buy a new watch, buy a new car, you start to feel good. And then you stop all your momentum because you're not doing the things that got you where you got, right? Tiger, I couldn't be more excited. Thank you for allowing us to take some of the time that I should be training you for us to just sit on. You're sitting and I don't even know where the hell you went. We went somewhere in the hotel. And
I'm sitting right in front of the elevator. That's why you hear all the
perfect. Yeah, you're sitting in front of the elevator. I'm sitting in the hotel room. Orlando's at the whatever he's at, the gun range or whatever he's.
Oh yeah. I built my desk. I got my desk built.
Oh, you were at the office. You built your desk?
Yeah.
Hot shit. I guess I owe you a bonus.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. I really enjoy these. We're going to get better and better at these. In the beginning, we're trying to figure out the direction of who's the audience gonna be, who do we want it to be, what do we want the message to be. All those things are going to come with time. And so, if you're watching or whatever, throw a comment on to say what you like, what you didn't like. I'm only just here to see if you guys screw up. I want to make fun of you. Whatever it is, helps us put together a better message next week at 1:15 Mountain Time. So again, every Thursday, 1:15 Mountain, until we find a better day and time. That's the time we're doing this. So far, we've had mixed reviews on people showing up and watching or not. But hopefully you watch the recording later. Hopefully you watched a little bit of live. Maybe you got one little nugget that helped you. Again, whether you're in the insurance industry or not, these principles apply across the board. It's just if you're not in the insurance industry, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Because if you didn't hear the memo, this industry, this financial services industry, creates more millionaires than any other industry in the world. And frankly, it creates more millionaires that I don't have a degree. I went to one semester of college before I figured out they were gaming me. So if you love college, I apologize, but they're gaming you. And you pay a lot more money for a piece of paper than it was worth. The only exception to that is if you're like a doctor or something where you're actually using the degree you got, then I can see the tangible value. But if you're sitting in a dorm room right now watching this video, resign. Come on over. We'll teach you how to not leave with debt. It's just as hard as college. You just don't have any of the parties or any of the girls or stuff to chase. But that's all wasted money and time anyway. But again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Tiger, for your time. Thank you, Orlando. And we're just going to keep getting better and better at this. We're going to keep growing. You're going to see a movement. Again, if you want to be part of this awesomeness that is Medicare Peace of Mind, that is this industry, I can tell you, if you looked at me on paper, if you looked at my history, you look at my background, you look at everything else, you would never, ever, ever imagine that I would get where I've gotten. And I'm not trying to be arrogant about it. I'm not the bee's knees. Okay, there's people in this industry that have 10 times as much money as I do and never will. But to me, it's not about the money. To me, it's about the impact. To me, it's about the ability to do the other things that other people can't do or won't do or shouldn't do. Like for me, does a human being need to write 557 applications in an AEP? I don't think so. But I've now proven that it's possible, where other people would just simply say that's not possible, right?
Yeah.
So again, thank you for tuning in. I have a blast doing this stuff. We hope to see you next week. And otherwise, get out there and change somebody's life today. Smile. It's contagious. Make someone's life better today. Pay for someone's food, help them out, open the door, whatever you can do to make someone's life better. But otherwise, we'll see you in a week.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.